The president's son has reached a plea deal.
I'm very proud of my son.
After getting in some legal trouble. An unlikely group.
We have chosen to be a family.
How descendants came together to forgive the sins of their ancestors. And a home invasion where these farm animals stopped for lunch. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak. Hello, South Florida. I am Paloma Pimentel.
I'm Leon Abutalbush. Today is Wednesday, June 21st, 2023.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
A sinking feeling after days of searching. Officials have hoped that the crew on a submersible that was exploring the Titanic wreckage will be found.
There are signs of encouragement this morning, including reports of underwater noise.
With only hours of oxygen left, they are short on time. CNN's Gloria Pazmino reports from Newfoundland, where the crew departed.
And we're not far from where the expedition launched on Sunday. It was an hour and 45 minutes into the dive that the vessel lost contact with its mothership. It's been lost and silent since then. Now a massive rescue operation underway to find the 5 people on board, as oxygen levels could run out in a matter of hours. Day 4 of rescue operations to find the missing Titanic tourist submersible is underway. And with every passing hour, the situation becomes more dire.
Right now, all of our efforts are focused on finding the sub.
But time is running out as available oxygen levels continue to drop. Experts estimate life support for the 5 passengers on board could run out by Thursday morning. Friends of those on board are holding out hope.
I'm very optimistic. I'm keeping positive.
The Ocean Gate expedition sub left St. John's, Newfoundland Sunday to explore the Titanic's wreckage, but less than 2 hours into the trip, it lost communication with its mothership. The Titanic sits more than 2 miles below the North Atlantic Ocean's surface. The U.S. Coast Guard say the deep water makes the search more difficult.
You're dealing with a surface search and a subsurface search, and frankly, that makes it an incredibly complex operation.
Rescue crews in both Canada and the U.S. have searched an area about the size of Connecticut.
The Navy has been in touch with the Coast Guard and is working to provide personnel, such as subject matter experts, and assets as quickly as possible.
Crews are using sonar technology to try and locate the sub. On Tuesday night, they picked up banging noises. It could be a glimmer of hope. Now, the fact that they heard those noises last night is perhaps a positive sign, and certainly feeding some hope to those who are on the rescue mission and those who are hoping that the crew aboard the vessel will be found. We are working to learn more about exactly what the sounds mean and whether or not rescue crews are any closer to locating the vessel. That is the first step before any rescue could possibly be considered. Reporting from Newfoundland, Gloria Pazmino. Back to you.
Good news for those who are tracking Brett this morning. The tropical storm is no longer expected to strengthen into a hurricane. Right now, it is east of the Lesser Antilles. Onto its current path, it is expected to rain out over the Caribbean Sea south of Cuba. Brett is not expected to be a threat to the U.S. There is another system right behind it that has a strong change of developing into a named system. We'll be keeping an eye on it.
The star receiver on the Dolphins is catching heat for something that allegedly happened off the field. According to published reports, including one by WPLG here in Miami, Tyreek Hill is being accused of assault for an incident on Father's Day at Hanover Marina. That same day, Hill posted this video on Twitter showing him out fishing on a boat chartered from that same marina. The Dolphins issued a statement yesterday which reads, "We are aware of the situation and have been in contact with Tyreek, his representatives, and the NFL. We will reserve further comment at this time."
The son of President Biden reportedly planning to plead guilty. As CNN's Mike Valerio reports, the president was asked for comment while attending a tech summit in California yesterday.
I'm very proud of my son.
Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, will plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax offenses and struck a deal with federal prosecutors to resolve a felony gun charge. According to prosecutors, Hunter Biden owed at least $100,000 in federal taxes in both 2017 and 2018, but did not pay what was due to the IRS by the deadlines. Last year, a lawyer for the president's son said his client has since, quote, fully paid those IRS debts. The 53-year-old also struck a deal with federal prosecutors to resolve one felony gun charge. In 2021 interviews with the media, Hunter Biden talked about how he'd been addicted to drugs, which raised the possibility he broke federal law when he bought a firearm. The White House issued a statement saying, quote, the president and first lady love their son and support him as he continues to rebuild his life. We will have no further comment. Former President Donald Trump slammed the plea deal. Writing on Truth Social, it equates to a mere traffic ticket. The U.S. Attorney for Delaware, David Weiss, appointed by former President Trump, says the Hunter Biden investigation is ongoing. Republican Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy says the agreement won't impact a Republican congressional probe into the Biden family's business dealings.
It actually should enhance our investigations because the DOJ should not be able to withhold any information now.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
A judge has set the date for the alleged criminal trial of former President Donald Trump to begin mid-August, where proceedings will take place in Florida. The trial for Trump's alleged mishandling of classified documents was set to begin at the end of July in Fort Pierce, Florida. However, due to the complexities of the case and possible issues related to classified information, it may be pushed back.
Negotiations between Cuba and China predict a Chinese intelligence force training facility that will be close to Florida and a threat to the U.S. U.S. officials have concerns over the ongoing discussions between Beijing and Havana that plan for a joint military training facility in Cuba. This means hundreds of Chinese troops would be relocated to Havana, where the U.S. intelligence forces say it is a response to the U.S. military activity in Taiwan.
Two families came together to make an unlikely group this past Juneteenth and heal from the traumas of their ancestry. As Caplin News' Cindy Claros reports, the descendants of a slave and her owner join in unity.
Through the quietness of downtown Crawfordville,
and they'll know we are Christian.
Sounds of music echoed, followed by a prayer.
And to love our fellow human beings as ourselves. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Embracing unity.
How very good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. We have chosen to be a family, and we've chosen to spread that hope that we have for all people to come together in love.
Loved ones deemed impossible is now possible.
We embraced each other. They were very welcoming to us. We were very welcoming to them. It was just a real time of fellowship.
On the lawn where history lives, deep within the Georgia red clay.
The stories that their family tells that we know are true stories about what happened under the system of slavery. And we wanted to be here to acknowledge that and recognize that.
Doing so by naming and forgiving the sins.
And I really would just hope that we could continue to have more honest conversations about what the system actually was for the people that participate in it on both sides of it.
That's the idea.
In a lot of senses in terms of a reconciliation and an acknowledgement of hurtful things that were done in the past.
Giving hope for the future. Cindy Claros, Caplin News.
Broward County is under quarantine, but not for the reasons you might think of. Instead, it is for giant snails. It might sound crazy, but it is true. Invasive African land snails have been spotted near Miramar. Officials say these types of snails pose a health risk to humans by carrying a parasite that can cause meningitis. The Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services states that treatment is underway to combat these damaging and giant creatures.
A North Texas neighborhood found 40 goats grazing at their lawns that strayed away from a nearby development. Locals were surprised when they found a herd of goats feasting on their lawns while grazing at a nearby development last weekend. The firm that oversees the goats took care of the situation quickly and repaired the plant infrastructure that occurred in the neighborhood.
The Miami Marlins looking to continue their 5-game win streak against the Toronto Blue Jays in their second game of their series.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
Just saw, a couple police trucks drive up with their sirens on, and I wasn't sure what they were sirening at because I didn't see the guy boogie boarding.
It's never good to run away from the police, especially if you're running on sand. That's what this man did to cutting his trip to the beach short. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
I could really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes?
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go, get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
A man on the run after allegedly breaking the rules at a Florida beach. A police in Panama City Beach chased and arrested a swimmer who refused to get out of the water despite hazardous warnings.
A man was spotted riding a boogie board at a Florida beach where double red flags were flying, meaning that the water is closed. Sirens and calls to get out were heard, including a helicopter near the boogie board man. The swimmer, ignoring these warnings, ultimately gets out of the water only to be chased by the police.
He takes off sprinting, and the police are in civilian clothes, so he didn't know who, I don't think he knew who a police officer was, but regardless, he was sprinting out of the water. He was trying, to get out of there.
Officials say it is illegal to be in the water during double red flags due to the possibilities of drowning and water rescues.
The 5-game win streak comes to an end for the Miami Marlins as they took a loss from the Toronto Blue Jays. The Marlins' Luis Arias went 1-for-4, dropping his batting average down to .398. This win for the Jays also ended their streak of going 19 innings without scoring. The final score was Blue Jays 2, Marlins 0. The Marlins will play the Jays later today at 12 noon for the final game of the series. You are watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
And banding together.
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort.
to get to know each other,
On a deeper level. Father.
cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Leon Abutsar-Bush.
I'm Paloma Pimentel. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.